Nerds. It's Kimberly Faye Greenberg, and I'm here with my fabulous friend Nate Patten, who works on Broadway. And Nate, tell us what you do.
I am the Associate Music Director and Conductor of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory on Broadway.
Cool. Now, what does that exactly entail?
Well, as an Associate Music Director, I was involved in teaching the show to the cast, meaning teaching the vocal parts. And on a nightly basis, I either am playing keyboard in the orchestra or conducting the show. It sort of depends on the night what's happening, but I'll do either one of those two things. I'd say a lot of the job entails maintaining the show and continuing to make sure the show stays in the shape that it was when it opened, and also rehearsing new people that are going into the show. We're actually putting some new actors into the show right now, and we just came from rehearsal with them.
Oh, okay.
That's part of my job as well.
And you work with kids and adults in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, obviously.
I do. We have 3 young, adorable boys playing the role of Charlie, and everyone else is an adult, because I don't know if you know this, but the other children in the story are actually played by adults. So,
well, I think that's kind of cool in this version of it.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it really works, and the adults are hilarious. They're so funny. But we have three kids in the show that alternate in the role of Charlie.
Awesome. Now I have 2 questions for you. Number 1 is, what if somebody wants to either, let's say, be a musical director or supervisor, or even potentially play in the pit of a Broadway orchestra? What would you recommend that they do?
Get out. Just kidding. No. You know what? I would say I would love to be totally honest and say, oh, here's what you should do, or here's what the thing to do is. But the reality is, and I'm not just saying this, is there's no one way to do this. Mm-hmm. Everybody's path to doing this was different. I will say this, as much training as you can have, get your piano playing skills up, get your conducting skills up. That's really important. Being able to be a good sight reader as a pianist is really, really helpful. A lot of people start doing this by playing auditions. They sort of get their in as an audition pianist. So if you're a good sight reader as a pianist, that's really, really helpful. And I think anybody that's doing this professionally can trace back their current gig to their first gig that they ever did.
That's very true.
It really is just one person who brings you on to the next show, who brings you on to the next show, and then you meet another person. And that's really how it is for me. I mean, I could trace it back to, my first summer stock gig, honestly.
Right. Well, this business, I think, is a lot about relationships, which some people don't understand. Like, it's about networking and getting to know how different people work, and then you keep hiring those same people.
Yeah, of course. It's the same pile of people. And I know it's sort of a cliche to say, but it is, the theater world is so small. Mm-hmm. So my one piece of advice, or one of the pieces of advice, would be just to do whatever gig you're on, and just do it well.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about, let me ask you, for performers, what would you also give advice to them as far as being a musical director?
Audition as much as you can. Go in for everything. Even if you may not be right for it, go to an open call just to get practice auditioning, when you're just starting out. I think, again, training. Be in dance class, be in voice lessons. All of the great people that are making this, doing this for a living, they're all in dance class. They all continue to work on what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think even Patti LuPone, she's taking voice lessons. I mean, because she wants to continue to be better. So I think as much training as you can get, and also have a life outside of theater too. That's my other piece of advice that I think not everybody does. Be good at other things. Join the softball league. Do other things that give you some kind of life that you can bring some kind of outsider life into the work that you do. I think is hugely important.
That's a great piece of advice. Now, I know we have lots of fans on Theater Nerds, and I'm sure they'd love to look you up. So how would they find you? I think you even have a great podcast that they could listen to.
Oh, that's so funny you're mentioning that. I actually have a podcast called Booked It, and it's actually #BookedIt. It's a Broadway musician's guide to theater, Facebook, and being #grateful. Mm-hmm. And I have a different Broadway celebrity on every week whom I interview. And we talk about the business, and we have a really honest, candid, down-to-earth talk about the business. and what it really is like. And we don't really sugarcoat anything. And we talk about what it is. So if you're young and looking to want to get into the business, I hope it would be a good thing to listen to hear firsthand from people doing this about what their experience was like. And they tell you everything. These people will give you every piece of information you want to know, and it's real. So check us out. It's the podcast. It's called Booked It.
Great. And if you want to give Nate a shout out as well, you can post in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.